In a world that is full of AI, storytelling is the #1 way that we are going to stand out.
Today's event was fantastic.
We heard so many stories.
Many engaging conversations.
I got a lot of ideas and inspiration.
And a lot of thought-provoking questions from the audience.
Storytelling is magical in itself.
There's a lot of nuance to it, and you can come at it from different angles.
If you can apply that to your brand, whether it be business or a personal brand, then these are the exact tools and skills that you need to succeed.
It's really important that we have events like this in our community.
It was for a great charity, Macmillan Cancer Support.
So we were raising money for Macmillan Cancer.
Sometimes I think in life we forget how privileged we are.
I feel like it's very important that we give back to the charities and support them also.
There's a real struggle on the non-for-profit and charity organisation stage of how can we get our mission heard, how can we get our voice heard, and how can we bring donations in and volunteers. And events like this raise awareness in the right way.
Because at the end of the day, we're all people and we're all connecting together, and it's about supporting those in need.
The feedback's been unreal. So much buzzing reaction from it.
The 3 words I would use to describe this event were dynamic,
Inspiring.
And innovative.
Big thank you for coming.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Cheers to everyone, and I hope to see you again soon.
Wow, that was absolutely mind-blowing, amazing, Mark. And Stefan, of course you went to it too, right? So you got to experience it. Very awesome. I wish I like all my friends are in England. Come on. I should move to England. What's wrong with me, right? So yeah. Hey Mark, I don't think we can hear you, Mark. Yeah. Awesome. Now, so welcome to this magnificent event of the most talked about event of 2023, the social storytelling event that Richard Moore, Izzy Pryor, Laura Costa. I loved her big smile at the end of the video, and she's just like a dynamic ball of fire too. And so all these marvelous creators, Geraldine Spurway, Izzy Pryor, Ash Rathod, just like, wow, mind-blowing events. Now we are going to know little details that no one knows about the event. And Mark's going to fill us in on that. And Stefan here is with us because he went to the event too, and he's going to be sharing some of the best tips for storytelling from these creators. And also, if you haven't noticed, Stefan is well established LinkedIn ghostwriter, and he has lots of tips also from his own experience, and we'll be learning those too. So without further ado, we'll start with Stefan. So if you don't know Stefan, go follow him on LinkedIn right now. So Stefan, what is it that you do? I know that I said LinkedIn ghostwriter, but what do you do and how do you help your clients specifically?
So if I just go back a step to really what I did before, sure. I've always been in sales and business development and things like that, really. So that focus on growing businesses, acquiring clients, building pipelines, and I've used LinkedIn, I've used email, I've used even going back before that, direct mail, a bit more old school with conventional prints. But really, my focus has always been on the sales focus. Now, over lockdown, I kind of got a bit disillusioned with things, and I kind of, shut down my operations for a while just to see what happened. I got approached by someone to do another project that was kind of around that business development marketing piece, but I always knew that I wanted to get back into using LinkedIn and using social selling and building my profile. I didn't quite know what that looked like. So on the 3rd of January this year, over Christmas, going back a bit, I thought I've got to do something. What am I going to do? And I thought the best way of doing it is just by sharing, just by posting on LinkedIn, just starting to put my thoughts out there, my background, my history, my experiences, my mistakes, my absolute screw-ups, my successes, and just start sharing really. And from that, it really started a ton of conversations. And not everyone turned into a client, obviously, because there were different types of people I was talking to. But I didn't have a focus in on who I actually wanted to work with, because I didn't actually know at that stage. I just wanted to start conversation with people. So by sharing a ton of content, I got loads of messages, set up loads of calls, and it just kind of evolved from there, really, where I realized that people understood LinkedIn had unlimited potential almost, but they didn't maybe have the time, didn't have the skills or the inclination to actually put their efforts into making it work. And so I realized that the right people wanted to find another way of doing that. So they wanted to kind of outsource it. And that's how I kind of started. And that evolved very quickly into working with CEOs and founders, because I thought they're the people who've got the leverage, they've got the budgets, they've got the potential as well to really make a difference and start conversations, really. And that could be, I've had a senior exec who wanted a new job, in a senior role. He works on contracts, wanted something full time, helped him do that. Other clients just want to build their personal brand. Other people want more leads. Other people want investors. All kinds of different outcomes. But that's really how I got started. So it's only been just about a year, but it's been.
Wow.
I've loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Great.
So excited for next year.
Yeah. Wow, that's absolutely great, Stefan. And you could really see your passion, the way that you talk about it, that you really want to get your clients results. And it's true. We're all here to get clients results. That's all we're here.
Yeah.
Because it's good for revenue, of course, but that's what really makes us like really satisfied, right?
Yeah.
And moving the needle of people's businesses. So, okay, Mark. So, there's maybe some people that don't know you, or maybe some people who are watching the replay that don't know you. So, can you let us know what you do and what you're about and your story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll start from when I started on LinkedIn. So, when I started on LinkedIn, it's about saving time. So, I realized that LinkedIn, it takes a lot of time and effort, and you really have to be in it with comments and engaging and connecting with your peers and connecting with your audience and talking in the DMs and doing all of these things which take hours a day. So it obviously distracts business owners from actually doing priority tasks within their business that are obviously going to move their needles and what they want to do. So they're too busy engaging and building community that they are missing the opportunity of a sales. So I saw a gap in the market. I thought, you know what? There's a gap here. There's someone who needs someone to do these jobs for them so that they can prioritize their sales funnels and their leads and get on those sales calls and close those deals. So I connect A with B. So I connect the business owner with their peers and bring them together. And I let the business owner take over in the DM, but I do that on a daily basis to ensure that the sales funnel is filling up with people every single day that the business owner can then interact with on LinkedIn. That's me. Jordan, can't hear you.
Okay, there you go. Sorry. So we have a special guest in the audience.
Oh, we do.
Mr. Ash Rathod himself. Thank you so much, Ash, for being a part of the event and listen. Great. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's our purpose, is to really, personify this storytelling event to people who haven't heard about it, or people who haven't really been exposed to it, and really communicate its value to the world. Because from what I hear, it was like mind blowing, and Mark did an absolute great job of directing it. So awesome. Really nice that you're listening in the background, my friend. Thank you so much. And here we have Dario. It says, great, brings back great memories of and Jordan, some of us are from Scotland, nodding. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, I actually do have a best friend in Scotland too. So maybe I should move to around that area, right? I mean, like, what's up with that, right? So, and then we have we have Mr. Kevin Moreau here. Exactly. Okay, Kevin. Well, it's always a pleasure to have you, Mr. Mingle. If you haven't met Mr. Mingle, go follow him now. He's a great um, guy to follow. So just briefly, what I do is I help coaches, business owners with their LinkedIn sales strategy, committing them more clients and committing, well, getting them more leads, ideal leads. Specifically, I specialize in really like moving the needle in the way of your content strategy so that it resonates with your ICP and making that bridge to get you more leads, more incoming leads. So that's a little bit what I do. So let's kick it off, my friends. Okay, so Mark, just let us know how this came about. I mean, it's like kind of like out of nowhere. Well, I know. Well, actually, I know some background information because we're like friends, right? But
Absolutely.
but I mean, for the rest of the people, how did this come about? I mean, like you must have some magic ways about you, my friend.
To be honest, like some people who were at the event, like Stefan and Dario, would have heard how the event came about. But 3 months ago, I think probably 4 months ago now, actually, I went to Richard Moore's summer event, and it was all about brands. It was the first networking event that I'd physically been to, and I actually really enjoyed it. I had a great time. So on the way traveling home on the train, I was literally on LinkedIn, and I connected and sent Richard a message and just said, Richard, really enjoyed your speech. It was really informative. Loved this piece, loved that piece that I'd recorded down from all my notes that I took. And then Richard came back to me and said, like, oh, great to hear. And then we started having a conversation. So we started having a conversation, and then led on to a conversation where I said, you know what, I really want to be on stage at some point in my life, but I have a fear of public speaking. I don't like being in crowds. I don't particularly like going to London, I'll be honest, because the tube is like very busy. So I'm not a massive people person. I'm one of those people who hides behind in the DMs and hides in the content and that kind of thing. But then Richard was like, well, you can do it, Mark. Like, why not? And then I said, okay, cool. I'll tell you what, give me 24 months, I'll get it done. So then Richard came back and he challenged and said, why 24 months? I said, all right, give me 12. And then he said, why 12? And this was just going backwards and forwards for a few messages. It got down to where Richard said, okay, try 6 months. And I went, all right, you know what? Yeah, 6 months. Cool. And it happened in 2. So,
Oh, bro, man, that's amazing. That's amazing, man.
It's the power of conversation.
And good on man. Like I've had chats with Richard on Instagram and on LinkedIn. He's just like a gem of a guy, right?
Mhm.
Like he's just like his heart is on the sleeve, and he just wants to help. And like for those of you who don't know Richard Moore, what planet are you living on? First of all, and really go follow him. He's like an influence for good on this platform too. So, okay, so Stefan, can you give me some key points and highlights that really stood out to you of the event, and how you can apply these things in your brand?
I mean, I think firstly, every single speaker had some really good value to add, and I think it just shows those guys who are doing some great things. It just emphasises to me how important storytelling is these days. There's so much noise out there. There's so much, well, let's be blunt, terrible content on LinkedIn that we just scroll on by and think, oh my God, another press release, another, those things where my team are so amazing. They just smashed it out the ballpark with another deal. It's like, really, that's just the same old, it's old hat. But just from what Mark put together and listened to every single one of those guys, it really added some value. Now, I think the thing that resonated with me, just probably because it's my background in sales and business development, was what Richard said and what you just said, Mark, actually, as well, about the whole essence of how the event happened. That sums up it all to me.
Mhm.
Whereas the storytelling's great, but that positions the right person to start a conversation. Like, you knew Richard, you followed him, you went to his event, you followed up, you started conversations. It stimulated ideas, goals. And you know, that to and fro behind the scenes is the whole essence of what happens underneath the covers of building that, you know, telling those stories and building that brand.
Absolutely. Sorry to stop you, Stefan. Absolutely. I picked up a conversation with Ash actually just after as well, and we got on a call. So it's very similar, like you say, Stefan. It was a back and forth conversation. And I got to know Ash very well. I got to know about his business. I told him a bit about my personal story, my why, all of those kind of things. And then I told Ash about the event. And then Ash was like, oh, yeah, I'd love to come to the event. And he was the second to come on board. So he just wanted to mention that when you're talking about networking and the magic you can make in the DMs. Sorry.
No, absolutely fine. Can I just tell you a very quick story happened to me on the weekend, actually?
Of course.
Whereas I didn't post that much last year, but I did one particular post that kind of went mental. It was about the Queen's funeral, and it got 1 million views in 24 hours. And I'm still getting likes on that post now. So people think putting the time and effort into building digital real estate, you know, which is basically posts on LinkedIn, think, oh, it's a waste of time. All that content is out there. You know, I don't know how people are still seeing a post that's, I don't know, 18 months ago. You know, it's kind of like amazing. But if you remember seeing the guy, it was a guy who just before the funeral started was in the old, you know, red tunic and with the big bearskin hat on, walking down the mall before, you know, just checking everything. It was him who I wrote about. I got a message from that guy on Saturday evening. And he said, Stefan, I just want to thank you. I've been dining out on your posts ever since that date. And I'm tonight going to do a talk about it and about some other things as well to do with history, the royal family and heritage. But I'm referencing your post in that whole talk. That's a guy who organised a Queen's funeral 18 months ago, wherever it was. And he referenced my post.
Wow.
Crazy.
I love that. I wrote a little story because it, you know, I loved it, and it's had, you know, nearly 2 million views. Most of those within a few days. So if anyone doubts the value of creating stories, that for me says, well,
wonderful, yeah.
Now it doesn't have to be millions of views. It doesn't have to be that. It can be 100 views, as we know. If it sparks one conversation that leads to something like your event,
exactly.
I'll rest my case, my lord.
Exactly. That is so true. That is so true. So, so in reality, of course, like every big creator there had some value to pull, right?
Yeah.
But I want to see, like, is there maybe just name the creator and then give like an extreme helpful tip, right? So what was some of the tips and what was some of the practical advice that the creators themselves gave during the event?
I think for me, an overriding message really was, it's nice having 1.8 million views or 1,000 likes or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The point being is what does it lead to? And I think everyone said, right, this storytelling has to lead towards something. Now that could be just getting to know you. It could be about your offer. It could be about your ideal clients' pain points, issues, goals, aspirations. But you have to be part of a bigger picture. There's many stories, and it's part of a bigger picture that leads eventually onto something. It doesn't mean you write one story, one post, and you get 100 leads and you can retire. It's all part of, nice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I think the overriding, and I think that's probably, I mean, I liked all of them, but I think I resonated with what Richard said particularly because likes are nice, impressions are lovely, but deals are even better. And that's what the focus has got to be on.
Perfect.
Not every post is a sales post.
Exactly.
Like we started this call having a chat, and seeing where we are before we went live, even seeing where we are in the world and stuff like that. And that's part of relationship building and part of storytelling.
Exactly.
And I think that message was so important. And I think everyone probably resonated with that. So, you're not pitching all the time. You're also not telling them about your holiday or your hobbies or anything else like that all the time. It's that mix of content. And every now and then you're going, here's my offer. But they kind of know you by then. And that's what that's what resonated most with me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Same question to you, Mark. So if you can just like name some creators or maybe mention all of them and just like really tell us what practical advice that they
Yeah, for
gave
sure.
us in our
Absolutely.
content or in our brand or whatever.
So one thing that really sticks out in my mind was actually from Lara and actually Izzy as well.
Oh,
So
they're so good, eh? Wow.
they were
Amazing.
focusing all about using like left and right side of the brain content and focusing on emotions and how emotions can move people into a dynamic shift. So, for example, like if you're telling a story with emotion and people feel invested in that and understand that that's the story they've been through, they understand the struggle, they understand the solution, and then they want that solution, it brings them in to a deeper connection. That was a great one-liner I felt when they talked about emotional marketing. So it's a bit similar, like all three of us are dads in the room, right? So we could talk all day about that. And then it's the same kind of thing. If you were talking about a specific struggle you had in your business, if there's someone having that struggle at this current time, it's about how you got past that and how you can solution and help them. And transitioning that into a story for me was like,
yeah, it's just like
amazing.
mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
Mind-blowing, yeah. Okay, so we have one for Stefan here. It says, Stefan, you might want to clean up your follow-up. Personally, I have amazing content. It's difficult to keep up to engage because they deliver so well. Thoughts on that, Stefan?
I'm not sure what it means by clean up my follow-up, but
maybe what he means is that you should follow, like maybe you should follow up more with the people who resonate with your story. Of course you do, but yeah, it's funny. So really, like, a question that I want to ask. So like a lot of people promote virtual events nowadays, and virtual events are like mainstream. But what are the benefits that you guys partook of going to an actual live event with real people, with meeting them directly, and just like forging that relationship with them? What was that like?
For sure. I'll take that one if you want.
Sure.
So for me, it was actually my first live event hosting, and it was kind of a whirlwind. It was a bit like my wedding day all over again. The reason I say that, because my nerves and my anxiety and everything at that moment in time between those 2 days completely correlate. However, at the end, there was jubilation in the room. It went really well. I then got to connect with so many people. I got to catch up with Stefan first time face to face. We've been connected on LinkedIn for quite a while now, talking to and from, talking about collaboration, all different opportunities. But it's the first time I got to actually speak to him and see him face to face. There was a couple of other people there who I talked to on LinkedIn on a daily basis, but didn't have that personal connection. But by having these one-to-ones in these conversations and actually seeing people face to face, it really opened like a new opportunity and a new dynamic in the relationship, which I'm super excited to explore in 2024.
So same kind of question to you, Stefan. Do you often go to these in-person events, or are you more like a virtual guy?
I mean, no, I'm very much about face-to-face.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I much prefer that. Excuse me. It was my first event for quite some time. So thanks to Mark for doing that and getting me back in a room. But I've always tried to do, I've been to some very big events as well as much more intimate. I prefer the small events actually, because you can almost meet everyone in there if you get the chance. But I'm absolutely all for meeting people. You never know where the conversation flows, who else joins the conversation as well. And it just really cements a relationship much better than a virtual chat, which, look, this is great because you can be anywhere in the world and meet and talk to people. Yeah. But actually standing together, having a cup of coffee, it's way better in my opinion. So, Mark, thank you for getting us in that room. It was great. So I enjoyed it.
So we have 5 minutes left. So we wanted to see if anybody in the audience, let's see how many people are watching. So almost 7 people are watching, or 8 people are watching. The 7 people or 8 people who are watching, fire up the chat below. Let us know what questions you have, um, and stuff like that. In the meantime, just to wrap up here, guys. So, like each and every one of us has brands, right? And so, for me, what I gathered from what you guys are telling me, how I can apply this event in my brand, is um, maybe get to the point a little better, like get to the heart of the matter, get to the heart of the story. We're here on LinkedIn not to waste time, like you said, Stefan. Just get to the heart of the matter, make the post as short as possible, but at the same time, allow for your emotions to be conveyed, right?
Yep.
Don't make it too short. So I mean, I'm continually working on that. That's like my main takeaway. So with you, Stefan, let's start with you. So what were some practical things? I know that you mentioned about things that you learned, but what are some practical things that you can do today to promote your brand from the storytelling event?
I mean, I think it's going back to that follow up. I have got to be better at that follow up, and I'm proactively doing that now. I've actually, funny enough, before I got on this call, did a deal with a client I've been talking to for about 4 or 5 months. We weren't quite ready, but I got in the DMs today. We've got talking, and we've done a deal. So it just shows it does pay off. You know, if you're friendly, conversational, persistent, and not just trying to flog stuff all the time. You know, you're engaging the right way, and that's the art of it. Obviously, we all get these spammy, relentless, 1,000-word introductory, never heard of you before messages from people selling stuff that we've got no interest in, which is, you know, good luck to them. Maybe it's a numbers game, but don't think it works really for, you know, in my view. But yeah, just that engaging follow up that is relevant is the important thing.
Wow, that's great. Same question to you, Mark. Like some things that you can apply today from the event.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a really good one actually from Richard, Richard Moore, which wasn't to do with storytelling as such, but it was a great piece of information. So it was about niching. So he said, niching doesn't necessarily need to be a type of person. A niching can be an outcome. So what I took from that is, you know what, my service is suitable for most business owners because my outcome is connecting A with B for sales. So that really resonated with me. And also the power of collaboration. I know it's a storytelling event and we got all information about storytelling. That was all super valuable for the audience and everyone. So I was busy asking the questions, so I didn't get to note down everything that I wanted to on that time. But the power of collaboration and being together and togetherness and having those conversations and those chats, like you say, Stefan, just to be social and bubbly and really show your personality and who you really are. I think that's going to be the key to personal brands and which brands are going to stand out and which brands are going to fall by the wayside in 2024.
Yeah, 100%. And like really, you know, I've been working with storytelling coaches and with copywriting coaches. If we need help, just get the help. You know, like we have all these amazing creators on LinkedIn, like Stefan, like you, and also like learn from Jasmine, Luke, all these other creators, and of course Laura, Richard, all the panel there, Geraldine, Ash, everybody. I can list. We could be here for half an hour. I can list a lot, but just like briefly taking away points from their content. If not, just like reaching out to them and just saying, "Hey, you know, I enjoy your content. It really helped me in this regard," and you know, that's what opens doors
100%.
to get to know these people.
100%.
So, okay, guys. So I guess we'll just end here. So thank you very much, Stefan. Thank you very much, Mark, For the people who need to see the replay, please message me or Mark directly, and we'll send you the replay. Thank you very much, guys.
See you soon.
And
Thank you very much.
Very valuable tips here.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. All the best.